Well, hey guys, it's Darwin, and today I figured I would do a little channel update, Q&A, and a random rambling about some of the new gear that I've been currently testing, some new videos I'm going to be dropping here on the channel, and some winter backpacking trips and spring hikes that I have planned for this year and 2024. So for this little impromptu video, I decided to pick your guys' brain here on YouTube and over on Instagram, seeing if you had any questions for me specifically about winter backpacking, some of my 2024 plans, random gear questions, or really anything that you wanted to pick my brain about, just like I used to do back whenever I did Q&As all the time. So I got a lot of really great questions, but one that I'll start off with that kind of pertains to a new piece of gear that I've been testing is, are you carrying a stove these days or back to cold soaking? So I actually haven't done any form of cold soaking since the CDT in 2021. It was the last time that I used one of these Talenti jars. This is actually the jar that I used on the CDT in 2021. I ended up ditching this somewhere in New Mexico, probably middle New Mexico, because it was starting to get really cold. It was October, temps were starting to drop in New Mexico. So I actually ditched the cold soaking jar and I picked up my stove and my cook system that I've been using for years. So my little BRS 3000 stove, or whatever they're calling it these days, and my Snow Peak titanium mug. And I cooked for the rest of the trip, mainly because I wanted hot food, I wanted hot coffee. And ever since, I have not done any type of cold soaking. I'm pretty over cold soaking. Now that I'm not doing these really long hikes, where I'm trying to be a little more efficient, maybe a little lighter and a little easier, this is kind of getting thrown to the curb a little bit. So I've actually been testing and trying out a couple of new backpacking stoves. One in particular, the Soto Windmaster. So mainly because I'm getting into winter backpacking and mountaineering, I want something that's a little more efficient on fuel, something that lights a little easier when it's high winds, because I am going to be up at high elevation on high peaks, and just something that probably burns a little bit better and boils water or whatever I'm cooking a little bit faster. So I've been checking this out, and I've even decided to kind of ditch my old titanium mug that I've had for years and try something new. I won't exactly tell you guys what this is yet. I'll be doing a winter backpacking gear video coming up either next week or the week after, where I'll be talking about all of the new gear, not just cook system, but sleep system, tent, all of that, of what I'll be using for this year and next year with a bunch of trips that I have planned. Speaking of winter backpacking and mountaineering, I've been getting a bunch of questions about mountaineering because it is something that I've gotten into recently. What mountaineering do you have in mind? And I'm a backpacker trying to get into mountaineering / climbing. How are you getting into it? So, obviously we are currently still in a shoulder season, but I have been getting prepped and ready for winter backpacking. Again, it's something that I've never really done. It's something I've never really spent a lot of time with, and mainly because I was never a big fan of snow. I grew up in Indiana, but now living in the Southwest, living in Flagstaff, Arizona, where last year we got 160 inches of snow, I've been trying to embrace the winter more. And my into that has been mountaineering. I did a mountaineering trip over in the Alps in July and absolutely fell in love with it. So lately, I have been doing a lot of training. I've been spending a lot of time learning about climbing equipment, about how to move on glaciers, crevasse rescue, self-arresting, everything that you need to know to keep you safe when you're on a very high mountain in the winter. One of the reasons that I've wanted to get into that is just to really push my limits and try something new, to be able to get to the top of these mountains and see these glaciers. And one of the ways that I've been able to get into it is not only from self-learning and doing stuff like reading a book that's called Mountaineering, the Freedom of the Hills Awesome book, by the way. This is kind of like the main book that a lot of people get into. It teaches you a lot about safety and self-arresting and gear. But my good buddy Jason, who has an excellent YouTube video called Short Guys Beta, I've randomly just been connecting with him, talking with him, watching a lot of his videos over on his channel, and then spending some time up in Colorado with him doing some training. I mean, I've gotten really deep into it, where I now not only own backpacking gear, but own climbing equipment and ropes and mountaineering boots. As far as what I kind of plan on doing and getting into, I have one big climb in mind and one thing in particular that I really want to do, and that is Island Peak next year in April. So that is the plan. That is kind of what I'm currently training for. But along with that, wanting to get out and do a bunch of other smaller mountains and stuff here in the States. So that's how I've been getting into it. I've just been reading a lot. I've been learning a lot, and I've been getting out and testing and trying new gear. So something I'm pretty excited about. It's one of the big reasons I've kind of gotten back into backpacking and making YouTube videos again and talking about gear, is because right now I'm in a big research stage of my life. Speaking of Nepal, next year in 2024, I'll be going to do Island Peak in April, but before that, I'm actually going to be doing a hosted Everest base camp trek that you guys can get in on if you are interested. So last year, I started doing trips with a company called Vagabond Trails, where a certain amount of people can sign up and come have an adventure with me in a different country. We went to Ecuador last November. This year we went to do the Tour de Mont Blanc, and next year I am doing Everest Base Camp. It's all inclusive. You sign up, you come hang out with me, 16 days in Nepal, trekking to Everest Base Camp. So if it's something that you've always wanted to do, hike through the Himalayas, you can come hike with me if you want. I'll leave some information about that down below if you are interested in signing up. All right, next question. I have trouble imagining you in anything but shorts. What winter hiking pants do you prefer? I wear actually pants quite a bit. I'm wearing pants right now. See, I'm wearing jeans, but lately I actually have been hiking in pants, mainly because I've been doing a lot of climbing and spending time at higher elevations. The hiking pants that I personally prefer are Cools. Really any of the hiking pants or climbing pants that Cool makes. It's Kuhl. I think it's Cool. I've always thought it was pronounced as Cool. But those are my personal favorite. I'm also a big fan of Prana. But again, it's subjective, right? It's all like shoes, or it's just like shoes. Different pants are going to fit different people. Different shoes are going to fit different people. But I've had really good luck with Cool pants. Just because they tend to hold up. They make them tough. They're maybe a little heavier than some other pants, but I dig those quite a bit. Favorite 4-season winter tent? Another good question, because one of the things that I have been massively testing lately and trying out is figuring out a new tent. I have used trekking pole tents for years. I love tents like the Altiplex, like the Hexamid, like the Duplex. I love tents that use trekking poles. I'm usually carrying a trekking pole anyways, so it's something I can easily set up. They pack down small, but for winter backpacking and hiking, I have been wanting to try something different. And currently I've been testing a bunch of new tents. Again, I won't really kind of talk about yet exactly what I've been testing, but here are two that I've been messing with lately that are a little more geared towards winter, a little better. One of them, or a couple of them I've been testing, I wouldn't necessarily call a 4-season tent, but I have been on a quest lately to find kind of that perfect 4-season tent that is going to be good in the wind, that's going to give me good protection, but something that is lightweight and ultra light enough. So something that's made of DCF, something that maybe has carbon freestanding poles, an inner and an outer. So right now I've been messing with a lot. And again, I will be making a video coming up really soon talking about some of the 4-season tents or winter backpacking tents that I've been currently testing. So keep an eye out for that. as well. With that being said, will Evolved Supply Co. give tent making a whirl? For some of you that don't know, Evolved Supply Co. is my gear company. We've been making a bunch of stuff from backpacks to apparel. We're about to put out some hard goods. So is a tent something that we would like to do? Actually, I do have a tent design in mind. I've been kind of sitting on a tent design for a while. It is something that I want to do. However, I will say that making a tent, prototyping a tent, designing a tent can be very expensive and very time consuming. We have a shop here in Flagstaff, Arizona, where we do all of our prototyping and we work on all of our stuff in house. That being said, we're not really set up for tent manufacturing or tent design prototyping. So it is something that I do want to do. It's something that I've talked about maybe doing in the future. And again, I got one up here in the bank. So we'll see what happens over the next year, maybe. Yeah, we'll see. All right, so the final question of this random update and Q&A is going to be, when you were first missing being on the AT, you famously started a YouTube channel to talk about the trail, gear, and backpacking in general. Today, if someone is missing the trail experience, would you advise them to do the same, or has the landscape changed? And if not, in your years of experience since, what prescription would Dr. Darwin write for post-trail blues? So one of the reasons I did start this YouTube channel, mainly the main reason, is because I was going through hardcore post-trail depression or post-hike depression, where all I wanted to do was talk about and live my hike. I wanted to talk about the gear that I used. I wanted to talk about the miles that I hiked, the places that I've been, the people that I met. So that was really the start of this channel. It's why I wanted to do it. In answer to your question, has the landscape changed? It has massively changed, especially here on YouTube. Back whenever I first started this channel, there was never any idea that I was ever going to become, known for it, that it was ever going to become a job for me, that I was ever going to get paid to do it. I was just doing it because I wanted to share something and I loved it. At the time, myself and a lot of people that were doing it in this space and hiking and backpacking and stuff, there was no such thing as a sponsorship. At least I don't think there was. I don't think there was anybody doing sponsored content, making sponsored videos or anything like that. So that has massively changed. And I think that because of things like 2020, changing the landscape of everything, people's attention spans have changed. So people now kind of consume their stuff quick, scrolling through stuff, shorts and stories and reels and TikTok and all of that. So that has massively changed. A good example is a couple weeks ago, I released a documentary film here on YouTube called Hawaii. It was a film that I shot last year with Jennifer Farr Davis and Sawyer over in Fiji. And, it's like a 25-minute film. It got very, very low views. Not a lot of people watched that video. And if I had to take a bet, it's because it was such longer format. So I think that if you are somebody that is a storyteller like me, it is getting a little bit harder to do that. As far as fighting post-trail depression and post-trail blues, I think if you're going to do something like YouTube, and that is your goal, is to just fight post-trail blues and to get out your content, you have to kind of take all that stuff and throw it out the window. You have to do it because it's what you want to do, and it's because you want to share your experience, and it's because you want to talk about it and you want to get it off your chest. And then I think that, it's still a great option for that. It's still a great option to share your experience with other people. Something like podcasting is also a great thing to do. What I found over the last 2 years is that podcasting has really become like this therapy for me, where I'm really able to sit down and just talk through stuff, get stuff off my chest, work through stuff. So really great to help fight post-trail depression, post-trail blues. But as I've always said, I think the best thing that you can do whenever you get off a trail or before you even start a trail is to create something while you're out there, and then create something when you get off. Write a book, start a podcast, do a blog if that's still a thing that people are doing. start a YouTube channel, because it does help you kind of stay in that world and still experience those things that you might be missing later on down the road that can, strangely enough, put you in a really weird, funky post-trail depression. So hopefully that helps. All right, guys, there you go. A little bit of a Q&A, a channel update. Like I said, I'm going to be dropping a lot of new videos coming up, talking about some of the new winter backpacking gear that I'm using, shoes that I've been using, boots that I've been using, new cook systems, sleep systems. Got a bunch of new content coming out because, like I said, for me, talking about all this stuff is really fun again because I am back in the research stage. You know, I haven't really been in the research stage in a long time. So trying new stuff and testing new stuff has really been fun for me again. So I really want to share that with you guys and make a little content on it. So a lot of that coming up. Again, I had those 2 trips planned for next year. If you're interested in getting in on my Everest Base Camp hike or my Tour de Mont Blanc 2024 trip, I will leave those links down in the description box. You can check it out. I'll probably be doing another one of these Q&As in the not too distant future. So if you have a question for me that you want to see answered in a future Q&A, you can leave it down below in the comments of this video, or you can send me a video question, a question of you, or a video of you asking me a question over to darwinonthetrail@yahoo.com, and I'll feature it in my Q&A video just like I used to do back in the day. Guys, I hope you're having an excellent day, an excellent week. It's a holiday week, so hopefully you're with friends and family and the ones that you love. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're taking care of yourself. I hope you're taking care of each other. I love you, and as always, thanks for watching.